The Oasis, smooth jazz, has moved to the top of the dial. The Oasis, smooth jazz 107.5.
Oh, what is it? I think the baby's coming.
Oh my God, let's go.
Remember your Lamaze. A deep breath, now.
I'll call an ambulance.
You better hurry, Alex.
Ooh, go gentle, little fella. Mother can handle it herself.
What do you mean, little fellow? I told you it's a girl. With your cute nose and my even temperament.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 97 of the Cabot Cove Confab podcast. This is Sean.
Hello, Sean, and this is Steve.
And today we're going to be talking about from season 12, dreaded season 12, Death Goes Double Platinum, in which Jessica solves a murder in the exciting world of Latin 90s boy bands. It's not really Latin.
That's not a boy band. No.
I seem to think that we thought it was a boy band.
You thought it was.
Okay.
You were dreaming. You were hoping for a boy band.
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what the fuck this is in this, but we'll get there. In the meantime, it's time for pre-show banter.
Oh, my favorite segment.
Hello, bonjour, buenos dias. Good day, guten tag, konnichiwa. Ciao, shalom, dobre dien. Hello to all the children of the world.
Okay. So, we don't get a lot of feedback here in the Cabot Cove Confab, but I did say something last episode about we don't have a lot of ratings, and several of you actually did go out and rate the podcast.
Oh, nice.
So that was nice. Thank you. And we did get a bit of feedback from...
That was really nice of your mother. That's very kind of her.
My mother doesn't know how to listen to this podcast. We did get a bit of feedback about the Columbo Confab, and since there's a huge Venn diagram crossover between Murder, She Wrote, and Columbo, I'm going to go ahead and read it. Okay, this is from Joey, sorry. He says, Hi, Steve and Sean. I have stumbled into being a Columbo viewer. My wife and I recently had a baby. Shout out Vince, my son. Shout out Vince, my son. I needed a show to occupy me in between naps. Curiously, I wanted to see the first episode to see how it got started. Honestly, I was blown away how good the quality was, with the acting, sets, and the format of watching the murder in the beginning, then cue Peter Falk at the 25-minute mark. Then as I watched more, I was hooked and needed a pod companion piece. I tried a sample of every Columbo podcast and decided yours was more my pace and style.
Ow.
I enjoy your banter on the show. I'm on episode 19, Fade into Murder. I'm patiently waiting for the last salute to the Commodore, in which Dennis Dugan comes out. I always remember that episode because he uses it in Big Daddy, which he directed. Rob Schneider says, see, Columbo acts dumb, but he's really smart. I think that's the seed of Columbo for me. Anyways, you guys are probably done with the show, so I'm late to the game. Just wanted to share my fandom. Oh, one more thing. Now You See Him is my favorite as of now. I used that numbers thing, pick a number between 1 and 4 on my students, and they were amazed. Cheers, Joey from San Antonio.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, because for my pre-show banter tonight, I was going to talk about Columbo.
Really?
Yeah, I was... so last night, I just couldn't go to bed, and so I just turned on the streaming service, Pluto TV, and they stream, like, Murder, She Wrote, Columbo, Twilight Zones, Outer Limits. Oh, it's like all my favorite shows. I don't know why I don't...
They have
turn
Columbo
Pluto
on there?
Yeah, Columbo's on there.
Huh.
And so I happen to... it's always bad when you catch it in the middle, because I always want to start from the beginning. But last night's episode that they were playing was It's All in the Game with Faye Dunaway. Mm-hmm. And I watched that from beginning to end. I don't remember how we ranked it when we were doing the Columbo podcast, but really quite enjoyed it. And I saw some things, and I probably didn't notice it on my initial viewing for the podcast, but I think either Peter Falk purposely had these lines in there, but I think Columbo is basically telling us at the end that he doesn't have a wife. Because there's a line in there. There is a line.
We're done with this.
Oh no, no! So there's a scene where there's a lot of where Columbo. I don't know if you remember the episode at all, but Faye Dunaway supposedly is flirting, or no, she is flirting with Columbo, and he's kind of fallen for her in a way. There's even a scene where he's wiping lipstick off his mouth, like they just made out.
That means he doesn't like her. That's why he's taking the lipstick off.
Well, and also, if he had a wife, that would be cheating, which I don't think Columbo would be the type. But there's a lot of scenes in your favorite restaurant in Barney's Beanery. And John Finnegan is in this quite a bit. And he's kind of like, not a sidekick, but Columbo goes there and they talk and discuss the case, and Barney's kind of the blue collar commentary of what Columbo's doing. As a matter of fact, I think at one point he calls Columbo a French whore for what he's doing. But which I got to use that more in conversation when I'm insulting somebody. Just call him a French whore.
You French whore! Why don't you go back to your home on Whore Island? Isn't that from Anchorman or something?
Sounds like. But at the end, when Barney's like, "Well, I thought you two were, hooking up," and because he basically tricks Faye Dunaway's character, and she admits to the murder, and Barney's like, "Well, I thought you said that this or that," and Columbo says, "Well, one thing you should know, Barney, you should never trust what a cop says." Mm-hmm. And Barney goes, "Well, where are you going?" He goes, "It's Thursday night. I'm going bowling with my wife. What else would I be doing?" Mm-hmm. And that was the end of it. Mm-hmm. So he basically set up saying, whatever I say is not the truth, and then proceeds to mention that he's going out bowling with his wife that night. I feel like
cue this old man.
Right. I think that is an admission from Columbo that the whole thing with his wife is all fake.
Okay, so I was doing something and I had to have Columbo on in the background, so I turned on Caution, Murder Can Be Hazardous to Your Health, which is the one with George Hamilton and the cigarettes. Well, that could be either one of the George Hamilton ones. George Hamilton and the poison cigarettes. Okay. And there's a scene where Columbo goes to pick up Dog at the groomers. Mm-hmm. And because one of the clues in that are a manicure for dogs, dog nails. And
I vaguely remember this.
The groomer says to him, do we call them groomer still? I feel like that's a derogatory term now, groomer. The dog groomer says to him, well, your wife called and she said she wanted this and that done. So I'm like, aha! A third person, a stranger, spoke to Mrs. Columbo, therefore she is real.
I feel like that could be explained.
You will find some way to explain it, I'm sure, but it's not going to hold up. Overturned. No standing. Columbo Confab is finished. Except for that episode on Forgotten Lady, which will be uploaded shortly. Anyway. Okay. By the time you listen to this, there will be a new episode on the Columbo Confab feed for Forgotten Lady, which is an episode that we did with the Novice Elitists and Eric. And if you are interested, you can listen to that. I was going to put it on this feed, but I don't know, I got drunk or something, and I'm like, oh, fuck that, bye!
Or something.
Yeah.
But anyways, it was a good episode. I don't remember what we rated it, but...
You enjoyed it a great deal. I never really enjoyed that episode because I don't like the fact that he let someone get away at the end.
Yes, and that was the other thing I was going to bring up. I always thought the Forgotten Lady, speaking of, Was the single episode where he let somebody go, and in this one this is the second episode out of the 2 that he's let a killer, or an accomplice at least, go. So,
But in Forgotten Lady, Janet Leigh's going to die. I mean, she's
Yeah.
not really going to get away with anything. She's going to die. She doesn't even remember killing her husband. In this one, there's
I have always argued. I think she's an actress. I think she knows.
Oh
what she's
my god! And she faked her own X-rays and brain scans or whatever they were. Oh my god!
We don't know
You're
what
just-
level of issue she had. Her memory issue, aneurysm, or whatever it was labeled as. Could have been a light case of it. Could have been a really bad case of it. I don't know.
Okay.
I feel like she was playing like, I don't want to do time. Yes, I've got a month left. I'm gonna live it free. And she gets her poor friend, her actor friend, to take the blame. She tricks him, I think.
Okay. Well, let's stop talking about Columbo because I feel like those people that are not on that portion. Let's talk about movies, like movies we
Okay.
may have seen, because I saw a film.
Okay.
I saw 2 films.
Yeah.
I'm gonna recommend. You know what? If we were still watching horror movies and doing that podcast, I think I would watch both. I think you would enjoy both this movie.
Like a French horror?
No, it's not a French horror movie, Steve.
Okay.
Those kind of went out in the 90s or the early 2000s. A movie just came out streaming on Shudder. It was in the theater. It's called In a Violent Nature. And I had read bad things about this movie. I heard that it was very violent. It was very gross, yada, yada, yada. And what this is about is there's this guy, this serial killer who basically was killed, but he was buried. And then he rises from the grave, and nearby is a summer camp. And he goes to the summer camp and he kills off all the campers one by one until one of them eventually, now you've seen this movie or you've heard of this movie, right? This is Friday the 13th. This is, slasher
Right.
movie 101. But here's the thing, Steve. Here's the thing. The entire movie is told from the killer's point of view.
That sounds fun.
So much of the movie, in between killings, he's like just walking through the forest. And it looks like, I don't know what you call this. What do you call it? Okay, I'm going to bring up Dead by Daylight. When you play Survivor, is that third person view? Like when you're behind your player? Like
Right, over
almost
the
like
shoulder?
Over the shoulder, yeah. A lot of it is filmed like that, like just slow parts of him like walking in the forest. There's a scene where he's walking and he hears
Like
voices.
picking wildflowers and sees
no.
Bambi and pets Bambi. And
No, it's not like that at all.
That'd be
Not.
great.
It's not Young Frankenstein. And like he's walking and all of a sudden he's walking alongside the water and all of a sudden he hears voices. He looks and across the river are 2 girls skinny dipping. So he stops and he watches them and he just puts down his knife and his axe and then he just walks into the water just like he can walk on the bottom of the water. And we have this long shot of the girl in the water and all of a sudden she screams, "Ah!" and she gets pulled under. And she's gone for like 30 seconds. Then she comes back up for a second. Ah! And then she goes back down. And then like a minute later, her dead body comes up. It's just like really weird shit like that.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. It was very gory. I don't think it was gory as Terrifier.
What's the name of it again?
In a Violent Nature.
In a Violent Nature. Okay.
Totally would recommend that. If that sounds like something you'd be into, you'd probably
Yeah.
like it. The other
Reminds me of,
movie...
what was the name of that? These 2 guys. And it's from their point of view. These college kids think they're evil. Something.
Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
That's it. Yeah,
Yeah, I love that movie.
that is
Like
great.
the wood chipper. But there is a scene involving a log splitter in this movie
Oh.
that is I almost okay, it wasn't quite as bad as the cutting in half scene in Terrifier, but it was pretty excruciating. Anyway, did you have anything you want to report?
Well, you just reminded me bringing up a horror film. So sometimes YouTube will recommend stupid shit to me, and then I get down these bunny trails, and so it then recommends more. It can be fun if you're trying to remember something, but it can also be a pain in the ass because.
Or if you're stoned, it's really fun. By the way.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Or if you happen to watch, I don't know, one thing that your wife demands that you watch and you have no interest in, and from then on out you're going to get recommended.
Yeah, I hear that. Because it pops up then, and then he's like, I got to get rid of this. I got to let this play so it goes away.
So, I don't know how you two picked up on this, but Tales from the Dark Side.
Oh,
remember that
yes.
show?
Yeah, I have it on
there's-
DVD. Yeah.
Yeah, is that streaming anywhere? Is that on Shudder?
It is not. I don't think it's not on Shudder. I remember looking this up and finding out that it was not streaming, but that was a couple years ago. You can buy it very cheaply on DVD, however.
I really
want-
liked that show. I remember just the intro as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
See, that came out in like '83, so I was just a kid when that came out, and I remember it would play late at night. This was before. I mean, cable was just new, and or it was just new to me at least. But I didn't have cable in '83, but we
Neither
had
did
the
I.
5 channels or whatever it was,
Yeah.
And I don't know which channel had this on, but they had it on like late at night. And
Yes,
I just
me
remember
too. Me too.
the TV would just be on, and then all of a sudden, I don't know, I was watching something like Doogie Howser. I don't know what the hell I was watching, but then all of a sudden you'd hear that theme song, and then and there's nothing scary about the intro. It's just the delivery, the guy, the voiceover, and how the screen goes to a black and white negative of the image of the outdoors, and that
for
was
those-
as freaky as anything.
Yeah. Maybe I'll play it right here for the readers. But yeah, I agree with you. When I watch it now, I still haven't watched all of them on DVD. But from what I remember, it was really hit or miss. Like an episode would be really great, or it would be just complete shit.
Yeah.
There was another show that came out at the same time called Monsters, and that was usually complete shit. Do you remember which one?
I don't remember
Monsters?
that show at all.
Okay.
No. Well, there was the channels I started watching were like the top 10 episodes, and I've seen most of I remember most of those, but it really put me in the mood to watch that anthology show. I need to look it up. Is it only on DVD? They didn't make it on Blu-ray.
Yes, that's correct. It's not on Blu-ray. It is only on DVD. And there are a lot of people in that show that were also on Murder, She Wrote.
Oh, I'm sure.
Fritz
I wouldn't be
Weaver, the horny French detective, is in the very first episode.
That's funny
Or is it
because I was watching a
Fitz
Twilight Zone and he was in it.
Oh, really?
There's one with Burgess Meredith where he's a librarian, and that other actor who you just mentioned, I can't remember his
Fritz
name.
Weaver?
Fritz Weaver.
Fritz
He's
Weaver?
in it, and he's like, it's almost I can't remember the premise at the beginning, but it's as if the Nazis had won, and so it's set in the future, and they're putting the librarian to death, and he's the guy in charge of the execution.
Oh, I think I remember seeing pictures of this. Okay. Cool. That is very cool.
Yeah.
I want to see that. That's very interesting.
Small world, I guess.
Yeah, I have to apologize for the small world. Steve, they're movie stars. I mean, Fitz Weaver, I don't know, but Burgess Meredith, I think.
Well, you know what? I
qualifies
mean,
as
I
a
was
movie
never
star.
aware of him until basically Murder, She Wrote, and now I'm seeing that guy everywhere.
Sir,
it's so
no.
weird.
I beg
On Love
to
Boat,
Sir,
on-
Fitz Weaver, excuse me, Creep Show, hello.
Yeah, he was in the first movie.
Yeah.
He was. I'm sure he was in Starsky and Hutch or something. I mean, it was just Knight Rider. He did all. I'm sure he did everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even Divine was in an episode of Tales from the Dark Side.
Really?
Or Glenn something, which is his male name. I saw another film, another horror movie. Have you heard of a franchise called A Quiet Place?
Is that the one where the monsters can hear you and then they
Yes.
will kill you? Yeah. I've never
Yeah.
seen any of the films because there's 2 of them, right?
There's 3. There's Quiet
Oh, now
Place.
there's 3.
A Quiet Place, something or other. I think it's just part 2. And then A Quiet Place Part 1 came out earlier this year. And did I say year 1 or day 1? It's day 1. Because the first movie basically starts out on day, 463. And there's this family of 5 living out in the woods, and they have everything set up so that they won't talk or make any noise. Otherwise, they're aliens, the monsters. They look like big brown mantis people will come flying out and get them. And when they kill them, they come out at them real quick and drag them away. But if you make even like just the most barest of sounds, they'll come and get you. So they made A Quiet Place Day 1, which, unlike the other 2 movies, it's set in New York City. And day 1, this is going to be the day that the aliens land. And so I really want to see this. I want to see what it's like in New York City, one of the noisiest cities in the world. And they have a...
It's probably like a buffet for the aliens.
Yeah, they say the decibel of New York City is 90 decibels or something like that. And basically that's the same as a constant scream. And our protagonist in this movie is a lady named Sam, played magnificently by Lupita Nyong'o, Academy Award-winning Lupita Nyong'o, and she could be in any fucking shitty movie. Like, she was in this movie called Little Monsters, which was a zombie movie with kids. She was fabulous in it. She does everything so well. She is the next Angela Lansbury. Anyway, she's in hospice. She has something, we don't know what, it must be cancer, but she's dying, and she has to take patches, and they decide that they're going to take a field trip into the city in New York to see a puppet show in the theater. And while that show is going on is when the aliens land, and no one has any idea. And everybody is leaving the city to get away. And this is all, Chris, but then we meet a second character. And this is a guy, I can't remember his name, but he's played, I should have written it down. He's played by the guy that was in the last season of Stranger Things. He wore like a denim jacket. He had frizzy hair. He died. He was kind of
Billy.
a bad... Yes, it's that actor.
Yeah.
This relationship between these 2 people, they do not fall in love. They wouldn't do that, but it's a perfect symbiotic relationship. I enjoyed watching them more, I think, than the action sequences. And this is the cherry on top, and those who have seen the movie know what I'm probably about to say. Steve, she's in hospice. She has a companion animal. And since you can't make any noise, or the aliens will get you, the companion animal is a black and white cat. And it is like really stupidly smart, this cat in this movie. I mean, he's not like Rin Tin Tin or Lassie, but it's like whoever wrote this, I don't think they've ever had a cat. I'm not sure. But I knew about the cat beforehand, and I actually had to look up to see whether or not the cat dies before I watched the movie. And so, even though, spoiler, I'm just going to say this, I don't think people will mind. The cat does not die. The cat lives at the end. And even though I knew that, I just found myself the whole time worrying about this cat. Like, oh my God, they're walking with the cat in the street, in these like abandoned streets, post-apocalyptic, and the cat's just jogging along with them.
He's probably
cats,
happy.
Well,
Thankfully, all these stupid humans are finally dead. I've been waiting.
It's quiet.
It's finally quiet.
This should have been COVID. But if my stupid cats, if that was me, they'd run off into the rubble, and I'd never see him again. They'd like make a little, I'd keep walking.
They would meow out loud, bring the alien
that-
to you, and then run off and leave you.
No, they'd fucking fight, or they'd meow because they were fucking hungry all the time. But what I like about it is that my black and white cat that I have, the kitty, look just like that. Or my black and white cat doesn't have a meow. He only goes meow. You can't go meow. He goes meow. All right, that's it. Quiet Place Day 1. Totally recommend it.
Okay. And where'd you see this?
This is on Paramount Plus. Oh, it's coming out on Blu-ray, and I ordered it. I gotta cancel that. It's not gonna look good. Them packages coming in the mail, if you know what I mean. No, I think you do. Okay, Steve, do you have anything else to add to pre-show banter? And again, I apologize for how long this has been, especially with Columbo and whatnot.
Why are you hating on Columbo?
I'm not hating on Columbo. It's just that sometimes, you know what? People are more likely to enjoy listening to us talk about Columbo than hearing me talk about that movie. I'm so sorry. That's because Columbo is more similar to Murder, She Wrote than a movie about, a killer or a Jason Voorhees type. Anyway.
Well, we can get straight to the brass tacks here. We can talk about Death Goes Double Platinum if you want.
We get platinum tax, Steve.
The platinum tax, yeah. And we could do that for the next hour.
Okay, I guess we could talk about that. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me turn on some soothing music to get us in the mood here.
Oh.
Alexa, play jazz.
The station, Ultimate Jazz, on Amazon Music.
Alexa, be quiet. Stop. Okay. Never mind. I guess you got to pay for that. It was Saturday Night Live where it's not Dana Carvey. He's not on the show now. It's a commercial for that product. I'm not going to say the name, but it's for old people. So it doesn't just go by the name that starts with A. It goes by a whole bunch of different things. So like Odessa. How many home runs did Satchel Paige hit last night?
Oh, that's an old skit. That's got to be at least 10 years old.
And the guy goes, Alhambra, play white jazz. And he's like getting all into it, and he like taps his little boy. He's like, check out the white jazz. Anyway, I think that's what this is in this.
Well,
this is white jazz. Anyway.
Speaking of white jazz.
Okay.
So yeah, we got a band in this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this takes place. Yeah, last season takes place in New York City.
New York City.
And Jessica is, for some reason, maybe she's doing research for a book, but she's helping out this band, this new Latin.
I don't know what the fuck
sound from Miami.
It's not. It's so gross. It's really.
You didn't like it?
This kid. Well, okay.
I was tapping my foot to a few of the songs, but
oh man, no. This is like if you had breakfast at the Marriott. This is what you would hear in the morning in 1998. This came out in 96, by the way, so that gives you some idea. And everybody is jazzing out to it. And I guess we should talk about the people that are in the band.
Yeah, only a few really matter because there's like the drummer, there's a bass guitarist that really don't do anything. I mean, they're just kind of in the background.
Yeah. I kept waiting for their names to be brought up, but they weren't.
No, they just disappear.
And by the way, this opens. Jessica gets involved because she knows Patricia, who is the band's manager's girlfriend, and also one of the musician's sister. I think she knows Patricia. I think that's how she becomes involved.
I don't know how she is involved with these people.
Yeah,
I
she knows
really
everybody.
don't know.
They are practicing in the gymnasium of the school that she teaches at. And to go back to something else, I think that she teaches at the same school as in Creepshow, because there is an establishing shot there that looks exactly like that.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, but, there's a crate underneath the stairwell. That's great.
Yeah, and she finds it, and madness ensues.
So I don't. The band, I guess, is named Filomeno. Or is that the song?
Wow.
I don't know if that's the song or the band. It could just be both.
The song or the album is going to be called Philomena, and the band's name is like Moonstone? I want to say Moonstone. Is it Tombstone?
Oh, okay. Yes, Moon something. No, Moonstone is the label that Alex... Let's talk about the characters and we can have this conversation.
Okay, yeah. Let's talk about the members of the band.
Okay, so the leader of the band is named Desi Ortega. And now, interesting little characteristic about Des is that he's blind. Mm-hmm. He's like the Latin version of Stevie Wonder.
Yeah, that's a trope. Blind jazzy singers, I feel. But he's very friendly with Jessica. And then we have
His wife, Amy.
his wife, Amy.
And she's pregnant with their first child.
Drama, just to add that bit of drama. I don't. That must be a story thing and not an actress thing, because I don't think she was really pregnant in real life.
Oh, I don't
But
know.
and there's the sound engineer Sam DeSoto. There's the band's producer Alex LeBron. There's Louise, who is Alex is also dating Patricia, whose brother is Luis, who's also in the band. He's the one with the curly hair. Their mother is Isa. I never hear their mother's name spoken. I only know from IMDb, but their mother is Isa, and she owns a hip, trendy Latin club. And I think that's everybody that we need.
Right for now, yeah.
Yeah.
But there is a line that's delivered by Desi, the band leader, that I found kind of like awkward and kind of frankly rude. So I guess they're going to take Jessica home. Desi and Amy are going to take Jessica home, and he says something. I'm just paraphrasing, but he says, "Let's drop Jessica off, and then we might still have time to go see a Knicks game." I mean, are you going to at least offer to take her to the Knicks game? Are you going to spend the night with her? Like visiting, catching up? No, let's drop off the old lady, and so we can go to a Knicks game. Hurry! I don't know. I thought it was really rude.
Well, he says that, maybe we'll have time to go to a Knicks game. Who says that maybe we'll have time? What are you, a season ticket holder? You can show up anytime you want? I thought these people were poor. That's why they're auditioning.
Oh, no. Did you see their apartment? Holy cow.
Wow.
It was nice.
Well, they're auditioning they're rehearsing in the gymnasium of the community college, so they can't be all that great. I'm just saying. I don't know. So,
good point.
Jessica's she's kind of helping them out, and I can't remember what she does for them. She decides she's going to hook them up with somebody she knows in the music business. And this guy's name is...
Wilson Sloan.
Wilson Sloan, yeah. And
Wilson has a fetish for women's hands.
If
you're a female, just put your hands in your pocket right now, because he will start kissing on them like Pepe Le Pew. I mean...
He is 2 hands as what's-his-name from Nickelodeon is 2 feet. Yes.
I know what you're talking about. Where'd you
That
come up?
guy.
That is
You're
so
that
out
guy.
of left field. Oh my god.
You know the guy.
Dan Schneider. Dan
Schneider, yeah.
God.
I kind of freaked out when I found out that he's the guy, the quote-unquote fat guy from Head of the Class.
Yeah.
I didn't
He's also
really-
the guy that was in the John Cusack film, Better Off Dead.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Remember, he and his mother were sponsoring the French girl.
Okay.
And he had a crush on her. And speaking of kind of like Pepe Le Pew kind of activities. But, yeah, he was real creepy in that.
The token exchange student. It seems like every 80s teenage movie had. Whether it's Long Duck Dong, The French Girl, there's others. I can't remember who they were, but... so offensive. Okay, anyway. So then there's this guy. There's a bad guy. His name is Max Daniels. My name is Max. Max Daniels, and he's a mobster. He's a bad guy. He's a boss. And this actor that's playing him, I would probably cast a traditional Italian-looking type, This guy looks a little bit too dorky to be a mobster to me. He does not look tough at all. Did you get that
He needs a
impression?
gold tooth. Well, no, I didn't, but, I mean, I thought he was fine.
Just kind of,
give him a gold tooth, like an eye tooth, and that would have been perfect.
Everybody knows who Max is. Everybody's afraid of him. His number one goon, if you will, is a guy named Luis DeCal. No, I'm sorry. His name is Tomas. There's a lot of people in this, people.
Yeah.
Thomas Aguilera. We'll just call him Tomas.
Tomas, yeah.
Yeah, it turns out that such a tangled web. Tomas is involved because he also used to date Patricia, but Max, this is all important to Max because Max wants to get Desi to have the band go with Max's amateur label instead of going off with Wilson Sloan or some other producer.
Right.
I don't know why Max is so invested in this fucking lame band, but
he's diversifying. He says that at one point because Max drags Desi to a parking garage, which I guess is where all the mafia does their meetings, impromptu meetings in parking garages, and tells him like, I want you to sign this contract so your band will be under my label or my whatever, and of course Desi's like, no, like I'm not. You're a bad guy. I don't want anything to do with you. So he basically just throws the contract away. We do learn in this scene in the parking garage that Tomas, the right-hand goon, is a chain smoker. And
Yes.
you know when he's coming because you will hear a lighter. And they
right.
and I wouldn't normally pay attention to the lighter making the click sound. It's one of those Bics, not Bics. What do you call those? Zippos. It's kind of like a Zippo click. Because the camera zoomed in on him when he lit his cigarette. And like, okay.
That would have been a good clue. That would have been a great clue because I didn't even think of that. And normally, like, I notice when people are smoking in movies and TV and stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's so rare nowadays. Huh. But I don't know how they would have worked that in to be a clue. But later on, Luis does say that he smelled him from the stage.
Yeah, so he's smoking some cheap cigarettes, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tomas is still in love with Patricia, even though I'm guessing she broke it off with him. So he's got this unresolved love for her. And of course, he's just creeping around her. He's looking at any opportunity to get back with her.
Oh, it's really gross. He's a really gross person.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at one point, I guess Max is so into like being a record producer that he hires a hitman to
Updike.
Updike, a hitman to take out Alex, and then right before he does it, Tomas is there with Patricia on the phone, and he's like, "I'm calling it off." Because his Patricia, his girlfriend, is calling it off without Max's permission.
Yeah. No, she's working at the bar. She lost her job, or working at the club, and he calls her. Tomas calls her and says, "We need to talk." So she goes to the hotel where he's staying, and basically explains to her like, "Hey, we're going to do some quid pro quo stuff here. I'll call off the hit if you give me what I want." It's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
So all we know is that she says, "Okay, do it. Call off the hit. I'll do whatever you want." And so he calls off the hit at the last minute to save her fiance's life, Alex.
Presumably there was some ugly sex after that scene. She was like, "Give me another shot of Jose Cuervo, would you?" You know, they did a lot of drinking in that apartment. It's like, God, this place is so ugly. Pour some scotch. One scene they have like a proper decanter, and then the next scene when it's Patricia and Tomas, it's just a bottle of Jose Cuervo. It's like, fuck the fancy shit. We're just drinking Jose Cuervo straight, which actually makes me want to vomit if I think about it too much.
Really?
Yeah, because I actually did that once when I had Jose Cuervo as a shot for the first time. When you're drinking like, I don't know, Blue Hawaiians all night, and then somebody's like, "Let's do shots. Bring out the Jose Cuervo," and then you give one to me, and then I puke all over the patio, and then we have to go home and drive. Anyway, yeah.
So let's talk about some characters that are pointless in this episode. The first one is Lieutenant Esposito, who is obviously a police officer, and she's a good friend of Angela's. As a matter of fact, she's such a friend that in Jessica's class, which have we seen an episode where Jessica's actually teaching a class? I don't remember it.
It was the one, I think it was Lines of Excellence, where she had a student and he was selling computer parts on the black market. And he worked at the... Did she take a computer lesson?
Yeah,
but I remember
something like that.
He had like a really Italian family, like obnoxiously like stereotypical Italian. And all the neighbors and the grandmas would come in to say hello to Jessica. Do you remember this? This sounds horrible, what I'm describing. Yet this is what actually happened in the episode.
Yes, I do. Yeah, they're all fans, and they all wanted her autograph. Yeah. The mother had invited all her friends from her book club or something. I can't remember, but anyway, so Lieutenant Esposito, she's lecturing on the importance of DNA and no, not the importance of DNA. What was she?
On the unimportance of DNA,
The unimportant.
presumably in detective fiction as opposed to real fucking life. I hope. Yeah.
But we find out that when Jessica brings up Max and Tomas, that they have a rap sheet, and actually they're under investigation for something. I can't remember. I kind of zoned out when she's talked because I really just didn't care.
She says this classic thing that you always hear in police procedurals. He's got a rap sheet as long as your arm. You know what? I'd like to see a rap sheet. What is a rap sheet? Like, I literally picture like a CVS receipt. A rap sheet. I hate CVS. I shouldn't say that. There's really nothing wrong with them.
Wow,
They've done nothing wrong to me, but I just really
out
hate
of
those
nowhere.
receipts. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I understand. So later that night, back at the bar performance, whatever.
A few minutes later. Wait, I have a question for you, Steve.
Yeah.
Where would you rather go? Would you rather go? Okay, you can either take me out for dinner, or you can take me out after we eat dinner at home. Okay. Do you want to take me out to L's Steakhouse from a couple episodes ago? From what was it? Was it the Classic Murder? Oh man, that was
it was because that's
3
Classic
episodes.
Cars. Yeah.
Or would you rather go to this nightclub?
I mean steak.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm going with it too. Because if you're going for the atmosphere, you're
I
pretty
guess
much
it's kind of
fucked.
how good is the steak. I mean, is it like a really good steak restaurant, or are we talking about like a Chili's kind of steak? You know.
I used to think Chili's had the best steak, the best
Ugh.
ribeye. Oh, and then I started going to Saltgrass because they built a Saltgrass. Literally, it was a Mimi's Cafe, and that closed. And then they put Saltgrass Steakhouse, and I ate the same thing at Saltgrass, and I realized how shitty Chili's steak was.
Yeah.
But Texas Roadhouse ain't bad. For those of you, I know it's a chain, and that's very whatever, to like chains. But I'm sorry, I like chain restaurants, and Texas Roadhouse has a really fucking good steak.
Okay.
You've never been there?
I think I have, but not in many years. I haven't been to a steakhouse in a long time. Steak is so expensive. It's easier for me just to make it at home. I do a pretty good job on the grill, but
I believe you there. I really do. But the thing is, steak is so expensive now. It really hasn't gone up, but everything else has gone up. So it feels like it's just eating normally, as opposed to like going to Chipotle and spending $20 on a burrito. You know,
good point.
If I'm going to spend $20 on a burrito, I'm going to spend $25 on a steak.
You know what I haven't had in years. I honestly, it's probably been over 10 years. A good ribeye. Not a ribeye. I'm sorry, a prime rib. Oh, you know how rare those things get, and then you get like the jus sauce. Oh boy, I miss that.
They used to have it at Saltgrass, and then I don't know. They took it away during COVID. And there's only one restaurant in this area that serves prime rib, and it's only on Thursdays. Like, I have researched this extensively because
They're
that's
so
one of my
good.
favorite.
They're so
Yeah.
good. Why is it so hard to find them? Is it just it's cost prohibitive or what?
Well, Next episode we'll have the Texas Beef Baron on, and Mr. Mr. Meats, Mr. Arby. He's the Texas beef.
Well, you said you researched it, so I thought that.
Oh no!
Okay.
I just researched restaurants in the area and whether or not they serve prime rib.
Like you studied. You could be you could be a butcher now.
Yeah.
Oh, I was watching with my wife. We like to watch old Kitchen Nightmares, and there was one where when he first started, he was doing the restaurants over in the UK, and this one they took all the staff out to a local cattle farm, and he challenged the chefs like to identify the different cuts of meat on a cow, and the cow's just like walking around, and the cow just kind of gives them a side eye, like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And there's, "Oh yes, this is where the tender." It's like, cow, they're talking about eating you. This cow's staring at him. It's so like, I don't know. I have a problem with that. My wife says I don't want to know where the meat comes from. It comes from a package.
Yeah,
It comes from styrofoam plastic.
I mean, it's true. You know, I've seen Faces of Death, and that's like the only real stuff of death. We've talked about this before, but I'm like, I'll totally watch this. I think I should watch it. I think I should know what happens, where it comes from. I think, you know, we should give those animals that privilege because they didn't get any other privilege in their life. Mm-hmm. But I can't stop eating delicious meat. I'm sorry.
I know.
Vegans or vegetarians.
I go through the same thing. I am looking forward to lab grown meat. To be quite honest, not many people would admit that, but as soon as that becomes a thing and it becomes as good as real meat, then I will be totally fine with that. I won't be a conspiracy theorist and say they're trying to drug us or feed us chemicals or whatever. I'll be totally fine with it.
All right.
What the hell are we talking about?
There's going to be a murder. We're right before. So Moonshine or Moonstone or whatever their name is, they're going to be performing at the club, Luis and Patricia's mother's club, and everybody's going to be there, including Wilson Sloan, including Max the gangster.
Everybody's there. Everybody's there.
Everybody's there.
All the players in this episode are in this bar or in this club.
Even Culligan, Max Daniels' chauffeur, is there. He's just this guy who hangs out in the background. I just love that his name is Culligan, though, because up north, back in the day, Culligan was the name of a water delivery service. Like, they'd bring water to usually your office, probably, but maybe your home too. And every time we would see a truck, my dad would say, "Oh, Culligan man," because that's what they would say in the commercial. "Oh, Culligan man." Yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
That's what I thought.
That
Everybody from the band is there, obviously. Mm-hmm. Patricia is there. Everybody's there. Let's just say that, because
well, no, Patricia's late, and Alex at the beginning, he's like, "Anybody seen Patricia?
Yeah.
Patricia, where are you?"
And what's so delicious about this, though, is that the scene opens with a close-up shot of a waitress stabbing at the ice with an ice pick. This is just totally getting set up. And I'm not
saying... No murder yet, but I'm wondering what the murder weapon will be.
I'm not saying that's a bad
thing. Could be that butcher knife over there. No. Oh, that one guy, I think he's got a samurai sword he's carrying. No. Well, that guy, he's got a Beretta. Could be the... No.
That 15-year-old has a Uzi machine gun. I don't even know. I just fucking cut that out. Okay. So the band plays, and talking about stuff that sticks out like a sore thumb. Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, let me ask you this. At this point, the murder has not been committed. We actually don't know who will be murdered. Right. I thought for a minute it might be Desi, but not him. So it's I figured it was going to be Max Daniels, because everybody hates him for some reason. He wants to take everybody out.
Everybody hates Max.
Yeah, everybody hates Max. And there was something that was said when Max passes the table where Wilson and Jessica are sitting, Wilson and Jessica have this short. Wilson and Max have this short exchange. They know each other because I think that one or both of them was a witness in a trial, so there's a history there. And I'm like, why are they bringing that up? Because Wilson is being set up to be the Jessica's friend role, kind of. And then after the murder's committed, Wilson's like, well, Jessica, I'll see you later. Meet me later, And I'm like, aha, it's him. But before the murder was committed, I totally thought it was somebody else. Did you think it was anybody in particular?
No, I think I was just going with the flow at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, I really hadn't committed to who I wanted to see dead more.
Oh, I mean the murderer, not the victim. Because I think there was somebody that had murderer written all over him the minute they stepped on screen.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay, all right.
So, eventually Tomas arrives. Now, again, this is after he's called off the hit for Alex. But Alex sees him and walks up and goes, what the hell are you doing here? And what does Tomas say? He says, she was fantastic. And I'm like, ew. So, obviously, that pisses Alex off. And they're about to get into a fight until the mother, who owns the club, interrupts and tells them to settle down.
Now, here, sit down, you two.
So, Tomas sits, he finds his chair. He sits next to
the soundboard, if you will, Sam.
He sits next to Sam at the soundboard. But he sits next to Max Daniels. Sorry, I couldn't think of his name there for a bit. And of course, he's pissed off. Max is pissed off because he called off the hit. Alex should be dead. So all of a sudden, a lot of people are just hating on Tomas, which, as you probably guess at this point, he's the victim. He's going to be the victim.
Yeah, very shortly. Tomas sits down. He lights up one of his ciggies. Sam comes up behind him and says something to him like, sir, look out. You're sitting right by the cables because the cables from the soundboard were probably underneath the table. Yeah. And then the band begins to play. And for one fucking hot second, I thought it was going to be like that episode of Poker Face where the guy gets electrocuted on stage and all the bandmates are basically the murderer, and it turns out that he wrote the song that was so popular because it was
Benson.
did it. I thought that Desi was going to die. I thought he was going to get electrocuted or something. And no. That would be
I was
really
thinking
cool.
something very dark. I'm sorry. Okay. That wasn't mean to be a pun either, because he's blind. No, I didn't. Never mind.
Oh my god! I didn't even go there. Okay.
Okay, so yeah, the lights go because the
song
song
trying to figure
plays,
out what it is now, and I can't.
The lights go out okay, so they play their song. The lights go down, and then the lights go back on. It says an effect, and when we see that Tomas has been stabbed in the back with something, but there's no murder weapon identified at that point.
Because if you're the murderer, of course, you want to keep the weapon on you immediately after stabbing somebody in the dark.
So, okay, we establish a few things immediately after the murder. One is, well, who could have killed Tomas in the dark? Well, gee, we do have a blind guy who proved earlier in the episode that he could play darts, get bullseyes somehow with his magic powers of smell and hearing.
I have seen this in murder mystery stories before, where the person who's blind turns out not to be blind. In fact, it was in Monk. Fuck, it was in Monk. Remember, with Willie Nelson was in that episode.
Oh, yeah, that was the Willie Nelson one. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We also know, because the camera zooms in back on where the ice was being picked, that the ice pick is missing. So now we know what the murder weapon is. And the question really is, who could have done it? Now, I wanted to ask you, who, at this point, for you, were your prime suspects?
I had two. I had one the moment they showed up on screen, and it was Sam DeSoto. Like, he was way too nice to be anything
Really?
that had anything to hide.
He was such a not even a B character, like a C character. He was. I didn't think. I mean, I don't want to.
Did you notice, though? You're right. He was a C character. He didn't have many lines, but they kept cutting to him to show his reaction, and it seemed really out of place to me. Like it's almost like they focused on him too much. And also, when you look this episode up on IMDb, at least on my phone, his face is in the main picture at the top. And I'm like, why are they showing that? Why is that important? I even looked up the actor. I don't recognize him from anything. I mean, he played bit parts in movies I've seen, but but the other one, okay, so he was who I thought the murderer was, just because of the way that they handled him, and also the clue about, well, we don't know that it's a clue, but why would they put it in there, where he tells Tomas to watch his feet, the cords are underneath the table, or something like that.
Yeah.
But then I thought maybe it's Wilson. And I think it would have been better if Wilson was the murderer. And he stabbed Tomas thinking it was Max. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, no, okay, I'm kind of with you there. My prime suspects was one that I knew couldn't be, which was Desi or Desmond, because it would make sense for him to be the killer, because it was all dark when the murder happened. He has the ability to get around in the dark, but that would be way too obvious. And so yeah, I was leaning towards Wilson Sloan as well, the other record producer.
Yeah,
that's where I was leaning.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out why he would want to kill Tomas, but maybe Max. But when you think about it, it really doesn't connect. And plus, the Sam explains later on that because his soundboard is so old, because they have no money, even though, I don't know, they seem to live a really nice lifestyle.
And they get to go to the Knicks games at the last minute notice. And, yeah.
I was going to say, that's not something that people who aren't millionaires do. It's like, if you're going to go to a ball game, that's like an all-day planning thing. Like, let me know at least a week in advance. I think this was written by somebody who's never been to a city or been to a Knicks game. If you go to a ball game in the city, like in my case, a White Sox game or a Cubs game, because I used to live in Chicago, that's an all-day thing. That's not like, hey, let's drop in. It's not like, they just don't drop in and take pictures. I don't just drop in and take pictures, Lieutenant. Yeah. But yeah, so the soundboard, apparently, when it's time to bring the lights up or the sound back up or something, it takes 10 seconds. It's the lights, because so it's dark for 10 seconds. That means the murderer would have to know the fact that they would have at least 10 seconds to stab him, which means the murderer would have to be one of the people in the band or where the band is practiced. So, like, Patricia would know that. Wilson wouldn't know that at all. He's never seen them perform before, I think. But he's never seen them perform in that club. So, I don't know.
So, after Lieutenant Esposito comes and she collects evidence and they find the ice pick.
Wait, what if the murderer threw the ice pick? I'm not going to think about this too much. I'm sorry. I just said, what if the murderer was Desi and he threw the ice pick? And then...
Right.
But,
yeah, like the dart. Yeah, from earlier. Maybe? I don't know.
That would have been cool. I didn't even think of that as a clue. Like, I didn't put that together. Like, a dart, it's like an ice pick. Maybe he did it that way, but he was stabbed in the back, so it would have been impossible. I like that solution. Huh. But...
Like him being the killer?
Yeah, I like the idea of him being the killer instead of Sam, who not only is a second-rate character, but, like, he's just so normal it has to be him, you know? I don't know. Keep going. I'm sorry. Just pontificating.
So Patricia and her brother, Luis...
one thing about... By the way, I'm sorry, Steve. I'm sorry. They had a certain budget for Luis's wardrobe. It's like, we're going to call this the... what was the name of that fucking store? Structure. This is the structure budget. Let's go get Louise some sweater vests and t-shirts and jeans. Sweater vests, t-shirts, and jeans. I noticed that because the way that he dresses is exactly the way that I dressed in 1996.
Did you have long, curly, flowing black hair like you
No, I did not. No. But I didn't wear it with t-shirts. I wore it with turtlenecks and sweater vests, V-neck sweater vests. Or sweater vests or and a t-shirt or a turtleneck with a V-neck sweater. And I thought I was so hot, and I think that I was, but we'll see.
Sounds like you shopped at the Gap, to be quite honest.
Structure. It was Structure. You know what? I did do some shopping at the Gap, but I really wanted to go to Structure. That was the shit. Structure.
Okay, so Patricia and Luis go out, and she confesses that she was at Tomas's apartment earlier that evening, and she's concerned, I guess, because she left a bunch of evidence there. So Louise heads over to the apartment to clean up, like the lipstick all over the shot glasses and whatever.
He doesn't know what she touched. I mean, it could be anything in there. And of course, just as he's about to do that, or as he's doing that, he's in the dark, wearing gloves, in his black clothes, wiping a shot glass off. Lieutenant Esposito barges in. I have a warrant to be here. La 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 la. We're putting you under arrest. Aha.
Yeah. What do you? And she asks him, "What are you doing here?" And he comes up with some excuse. I'm like, that doesn't matter. You shouldn't be here at all. There's no reason for you to be in this. The man's dead. Are you crazy?
And
What are you doing here?
She's absolutely right for putting him under arrest. She has probable cause. I mean, he's like
conspiracy. She charges him with conspiracy.
Destroying evidence in someone else's apartment, you know?
Yeah.
And
No
he's
shit,
he
dumbass.
says so-and-so gave me a key. And I didn't hear what he said because he kind of mumbles it. And I'm like...
Because he even knows that's bullshit.
Yeah, who gave you a key? What? Why would you have a key? And because for a second I was like, wait a minute, why does he have a key? Because they don't show him breaking in. So... Maybe he did have a key. I don't know. Maybe he and Tomas were secret gay lovers. Or maybe that's just what I wrote in my notes, and I'm going to read it later on. Okay.
Oh. So, Jessica talks to Desi. She goes and talks to Desi, because, I mean, he's got superpowers. He's got... He doesn't have the ability of sight, but he does have super smell and super hearing. So she asked him, like...
I know where you're going with this. Go ahead.
No, what? Where do you think I'm going with this?
Well, she thinks that since Desi has superpowers, as you mentioned, as you described, that maybe he smelled, heard, or, I don't know, felt something before
that disturbance in the force.
Yeah, exactly. Before the murder that would help her. So Desi basically goes, I don't know.
Meditates. Yeah.
I was going to say like a psychic trance.
Yeah, you can say that too.
Like, what's her name in that episode of Classic Murder, which I bring up again, where she has her seance or whatever you call it.
Have you seen... Talking about this, and talking about smells and odors... I should have brought it up earlier when you were talking about the horror films, but there's a horror film on Netflix that I've been seeing the trailers and reviews for that I just got to see. Do you remember that it was supposedly a true story about 2-3 years ago about a haunted house? This family lived there, and like the police saw like strange activities, and the guy who did Ghost Hunters bought the house. And ended up having it destroyed.
Wait, Zach Baggins bought the house from Ghost Adventures?
Yeah, and they were going to do something. But anyway, so they made a movie, and it's on Netflix. It stars Glenn Close, or she's in it. She plays the grandmother.
The Deliverance.
The Deliverance. Yes, I want to see this movie so bad. There's a line in it that everybody... Have you seen the movie yet?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
All right, so
there's a scene.
I know what
everybody talks about. So that Glenn Close needs an Academy Award for the
fuck
delivery
yeah.
of this line.
Yes, absolutely.
I have seen the scene. I have seen this scene 3 times in people's reviews, and I crack up every time. It is
So-
And so when we're talking about smelling things, that scene pops in my head.
Here's what's really funny. Somebody on the social media somewhere, and I shared this. It was a picture of what do you call the Yankee Candle, and then the scent was those 2 words. And I don't know. We're dancing around it. For those who don't know what the 2 words are, it's I can't even say it.
I know. Well, let's
I can't even fucking say it. It's so fucking nasty.
So Glenn Close plays the grandmother of his family.
She's so fucking awesome.
And I don't know if she dies and comes back, or she's possessed by a demon. But I mean, they put like really crazy ass makeup on her. She's laying in bed. She's got these sharp teeth. Her hair she's almost bald, and she's scary. It looks like a witch, scary as anything. And she does this little sniffing thing.
I can't do it.
And she goes, "I can smell your." I don't know if I can say it. It's so great. I can smell your.
We'll just say
nappy pee.
NP.
Not PEE, but P. Well,
NP. We'll just
the
call
JJ.
it NP.
The JJ.
Yeah. The thing is that I think that was the day after I was let go from my job, and I had nothing to do. So I turned on Netflix, and I didn't hear about this movie, but I watched it, and I didn't know it was a horror movie, and I was like, oh my god, for Glenn Close, she is so good in this. Like this is another movie she should be nominated for.
Yeah.
And then I realized, oh my god, this is a Lee Daniels movie, and then it turned into a horror movie. And this is the only time I've seen a horror movie where I thought the non-horror shit was better than the horror shit. Like just all the family drama and is she beating her kids, or is like I was really into that. But when the explanation was, oh, it's because the house is haunted and it's sucking the life out of them, and that's why there's
supposedly based off a true story, so
yes,
that's kind of
it
creepy
is.
in itself.
And
it's weird because the police who went to the house said, "Yeah, there's some weird shit going on here," and then I think the youngest son, was taken to a hospital.
Yes,
and it was in real life. I mean, it happens in the movie too, but in real life, and the nurses got freaked out because the kid was crawling on the ceiling like a spider.
Yeah, that is fascinating to me. I never heard about it until this movie came out. But to me, okay, more than one nurse saw it. All right, there have been reported people. There have been multiple people who have reported this. Okay, but the thing for me is that would a spirit or a demon or whatever you want to call it necessarily make you crawl on the ceiling? Would it be A, physically impossible, and B, something that they would make you want to do? Or is that just pop culture that tells us that that's what demons and mean spirits do?
I don't know.
I'm just saying. It just sounds kind of, but it is fascinating. And us folks, we love the paranormal. We love stories like that. But
and we also like the nappy, the JJ smell. So,
where were
anyways,
we in this? So
we were talking about
Louise,
how Desi could smell, and that line rang in my head every time that came up, or when he would use his special powers. Never mind.
So yeah, no, he says,
"I can smell your nappy." No, he didn't say that.
For some reason, I feel better, like doing like Hannibal Lecter when she's like, he said, "I can smell your cunt," and then he's like, "I myself cannot, but you wear Nevian skin cream, but not today," or something like that. Like, that's kind of what Desi does, and he's like, oh, and I heard Velcro. It sounded like Velcro. And it's like,
I heard Velcro. Well, what the fuck does that mean?
That's a clue. I think that's a clue.
What Velcro? There's no Velcro.
And this is what I thought, Steve. I thought I had it figured out.
Okay.
And I thought that somehow Sam did it by untaping the cords that were taped to the floor underneath the table. But I don't know how that had to do with the stabbing or whatever. But that's what I was focused on, and I couldn't get my mind off of it. I don't know how I go from there to stabbing with an ice pick, but somehow Sam is responsible. He's just so fucking guilty looking to me.
Yeah, so that's the main clue we have, is that Desi heard something like Velcro. And even Jessica's like, what? What do you, Desi? That doesn't give me anything. Until Jessica's back home at her apartment in 22B, whatever, Baker Street she's on.
Tutu Twain's house.
Tutu Twain's.
I'm so sorry, everybody. There's like 5 people who get that.
Yeah. And we're 2 of them. So she's back at her apartment, and she's like, decides she's going to clean her cork board, her little, what do you call those kind
bulletin board? I think it's
bulletin
literally.
boards?
I think they would call them bulletin boards. Now you think of bulletin board, you think of, I don't know, like something online, but
Yeah.
cork board. Where old people put notes.
Yeah, she's decided that she's going to clean that up, and she's pulling off Post-its.
While
And-
she's on the phone, while she's talking.
While she's on the phone. And pulling off the Post-its makes a sound like Velcro.
Well,
That
Steve,
was the aha moment in this episode.
I'm
Pulling
going to say,
off Post-it
sir,
notes.
Sir, I'm going to say in her defense, she pulls off a couple Post-it notes, and I love how disgusted she is with herself for like, oh, this is so old, because I hate Post-it notes. I despise Post-it notes.
Really?
Yeah. If they stick out, I hate that. That really bothers me. If they go on the paper and then paper goes on top of it and you can't even tell there's a Post-it note in there, I don't have any problem with that. But anyway, she does tear off 2 Post-it notes, and I think there's like something up there with masking tape, and when she tears that off, it sounds like Velcro. Now let me ask you this, Steve, and this is for the readers too. When was the first time you ever heard of Velcro?
I don't know. It had been early 80s, maybe late 70s.
In what context did you hear of it? I want to see if we're of the same experience here.
Well, specifically, I had a wallet, a Velcro wallet that had Pac-Man on it, and I loved that wallet. And I remember my dad taking me to go. How's this coming up now?
No,
my
Velcro,
dad. My dad took me to go shopping for pants at Marshalls, and I loved that wallet. And I had like $5 in it, and somehow I lost the wallet at Marshalls, and I never saw it ever again.
Oh,
I love that Velcro wallet.
it's a horrible.
It's that soft cloth material. And it had
I know
Pac-Man
exactly
on
what
it.
you're talking about. It was, and because my friend gave one to me for my birthday, and it was black, and it had the Playboy bunny on it. But the thing, and I had it for a long time until I got a real wallet when I was like old enough to realize. But those wallets, you'd put them in your back pocket, your front pocket. You felt like you were the shit. I got $5 whole in it. Yeah.
Oh, back then $5 was like a lot of money.
Yeah, $5
I mean,
was.
It was 35 cents for a candy bar, 25 cents for a Coke. Yeah, $5 was a lot of money back then.
It sure was. I was able to get me a
I
strawberry
remember buying-
malted and everything.
I remember, well, at least a Snicker bar was like 35, 45 cents. I mean, now it's like $3 or $4. Like, what the fuck? Not
But,
buying a Snickers bar.
So let me ask you this, and I promise this is going to tie in. Okay, how
Okay,
old
I'm sorry.
how old are kids when they learn to tie their shoes? Because I can't remember.
I don't know. I
4?
remember not. I didn't want to learn how to tie my shoes.
Because I had problems too. I think it wasn't problems.
I just didn't want to do it. I just didn't want to do it. I was like, I'll get my Velcro shoes. Yeah.
That's exactly what I was gonna bring up. Well, first of all, I just want to say every time I tie my shoes, I think about tying my shoes versus a dead man's shoes, and whether or not I'm going to go to prison. But yeah, the Velcro shoes, because after I learned how to tie my shoes, they came out with Velcro shoes.
Yeah.
And I think they still have these for kids, and it was so fun. You could just slip your foot in, and then foot, ha ha, like it was almost like you were wearing the shoes from Back to the Future, you know. It was almost
we
automatic.
were in the future. The 80s was the future, man.
It was. That's right.
We had home video games, the Atari. We had Velcro. What else did we have? Slurpees.
Yeah, Slurpees. I don't-
Happy Meals were new.
There was Frosties. Only came in one flavor, chocolate, and that's the way it was, and we liked it. Okay. Anyway, speaking of things that old, that was a character in Saturday Night Live when we were in high school. The grumpy old man on the news. We didn't have hair dryers. We would just stand in the wind and let the wind blow in our hair until a big chunk of wood smashed into our head. We'd say, "Oh no, I've got a chunk of wood in my head." But that's the way it was, and we liked it.
That was Dana Carvey, right? He did
Yeah.
that character. Yeah.
Roller coasters, flippity flu. So stupid, but so funny. Just. Oh, like I could just sit and watch that all night, like just 90s from my high school days. Saturday Night Live, like Coffee Talk, Toonses,
Coffee Talk, yeah.
Sprockets, Touch My Monkey, Free Range Chickens, the one where they did like we remember We Are the World.
Yeah.
Back in the 80s, that was big back then. We are the world. Oh, so hokey. So on Saturday Night Live, they did that, but it was a song for free range chickens.
I don't remember this one, though.
And who are the three girls? The daughters of Carney Wilson, the Wilson kids. And they had the three. They had them on, and Chris Farley was Carney Wilson because she was the big one. And you don't know what I'm talking about.
Oh, you're talking about the mall girls?
No, the Wilson Phillips daughters. You know what? I should shut the fuck up now because I'm talking about music, and that's almost as bad as me talking about sports. And I don't want people to at me.
Okay. So.
Steve's like, well, I'll take a hint. All right.
Okay, so we'll go back my notes. So Jessica has everybody show up at the club to listen to the tapes.
Well, it's not everybody. It's just Sam, because
okay.
he's the murderer, and the owner and her two kids. And I'm like, oh, it's not them. It's Sam. It's got to be Sam. I don't see Wilson showing up.
So somehow or another, Jessica gets Sam to confess that it was the tape. Because apparently the tape he was using was glow-in-the-dark tape that he used on his lighting board to help see in the dark. And so he was able to mark Tomas's chair with the same tape so he could find him when the lights were out. And he was sitting next to him anyway, so it wouldn't have taken him that long to run across the room, grab an ice pick, stab him, take the pick out, then get back to his little station to turn the lights back on.
Right. But when she gets them all there and tells them, oh, we have to listen to the tape. And they listen to the tape, and I'm thinking this is going to be one of those really cool clues, like you heard it or saw it all along, and it's going to be revealed. But there's nothing on the tape.
Yeah.
Anyway, so...
No, there's not. There's nothing on the stupid tape.
Yeah, so Sam confesses, and his motive was that he was in love with Patricia, and because Tomas was, being such an ass to her, he had to kill him.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. I kind of hate that motive, the secret crush that you'd kill for. Like, I don't think that's... I mean, Patricia's pretty, I get that, but... I don't know.
And Alex is like, thanks, Sam, doing me a solid. It would make more sense if it was Alex, to be quite honest. But whatever.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, Sam cries, and Patricia's mom wipes away his tears and says, "Thank you, Sam, but what you did was wrong. But we're not done yet. No, we have our what do you call it?
Oh no,
We got to talk about this one."
Yeah. So later, Jessica is talking to everyone about the case, and then all of a sudden, Amy, this is Desi's pregnant wife, she goes into labor, goes through labor pains, and Jessica laughs in freeze frame, and that's the end.
They're like, one person's like, "I'll call an ambulance. I'll get some water. I'll help with the car." And Jessica's just like,
Winks at the
frame.
camera, and then roll credits.
This is the most evil.
One soul leaves this earth, this mortal plane, and another comes in.
My plan all along. It is so hilarious. I'm not going to say horrible or
Do you
cringeworthy.
think Tomas was reincarnated?
I hope
child.
it. Well, I'm kind of hope. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Well, he deserves a second chance.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So yeah, and that's it. It's just so bad. You a while ago when we were talking about the return of Preston Giles, and you at the end he gets killed, and like she doesn't even like really. I mean, I know she's not a doctor, but there's stuff that you should do, like press
She
the
could have
wound.
done something.
Yeah, it's just
Because he talked to her at the end.
Yeah, yeah. All right. We're not done talking about this yet.
So, are you ready to give it a number? Or get a number? Or call a number?
Give me a number, and then I'll give it a number.
All right,
Let's
so
see if
I'm
it's
going to
worthy.
name... Okay, something was said earlier that caught my ear. It was at the very beginning of the episode where who was Max. Max says he wants that band dead as an 8-track. So I used to have an 8-track player, I think, as a kid. I remember having 8-track tapes. But anyways, what would you rate this 1 out of 8?
I had a Fisher-Price record out player, but I didn't have 8 tracks. I think I was a couple years too young for that. But my mom had him in my car when I was a really wee lad.
Oh, I definitely remember those, yeah.
Yeah.
In the car.
With the smoke and the no seatbelt. Yeah.
No seatbelts.
All right. You know what? This is a really shitty story. But, if you look at it, if you pull away the curtain... Wait a minute. I have to look at this in 2 levels. First of all, this is really... It's a Season 12 episode. And we have these preconceived notions walking into Season 12 that it's probably not going to be that good. And to be honest, the way that this started out with them jamming in the gymnasium to their 1996 jazz beats was just freaking hilarious to me. Love the vests, love the bongo drums. That lady didn't do anything else. They just called the agency and they said, "Send someone who plays bongo drums." And then they were like shocked probably when they sent over a white lady. It's like, well, I guess we'll have to keep her. All right.
And then not only white lady, but a white lady in her 50s.
Yes, exactly. Wearing another sweater vest.
Yes.
That was just hilarious to me. But you know what? I can't. This could be like the best mystery story ever, and it just happens to be about 1996 jazz. So you got to let that go and just make fun of it, But it doesn't really stop. It just keeps going from one cliche into another. And we have so many characters and not enough time. And this is a really good example of that. I also can't stand... I really wish they could have just tweaked with it or something to not make it so freaking obvious that Sam was the murderer. And it was that 5-second shot of him leaning over and saying to Tomas something about "watch your feet by the cord," something like that. I'm like, boom, that's a clue. I don't know what happened, what it's about, but the fact that they showed it means it's a clue, and Sam is the murderer. So I was focused on that kind of the whole time, even though Wilson, I kind of hoped he was the murderer. It was so obvious. But, I guess they do this to help the old people solve it for when it was out, because that's basically the only people that were... Well, I don't think anybody was watching it now. Was this was on when the show was like on Thursday nights, right?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't remember. I wasn't paying attention to stuff like this when I was like a kid, so...
Yeah. Kid. I was, I beg your pardon, sir. I was 21 when this came out.
Yeah, I was in college. Yeah. Okay.
Well, still kid, anyway, but not kid. Like, Anyway, where am I? I think that, you brought it up, and you know what? I didn't even think of it that much, and it went over my head, and it would go over 99% of all viewers' heads, and no one would care about it, and no one would ever talk about it again, because no one, including the people who made this, ever thought that it would probably ever be seen again after 1996. And that is the preposterous conclusion that Sam must have cut the lights, ran across the room, picked up the ice pick, stabbed Tomas, and then got back to the soundboard all in 10 seconds. And I freaking challenge anybody, even a younger man like Sam, to run across the room and back again without running into anybody or, being out of breath or, running out of time or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just really preposterous. I think it would make more sense for Desi to be the murderer than that. That's just ridiculous. So I... Nevertheless, for like Murder, She Wrote in 1996, I kind of enjoyed this. So what is this out of 8? I'll give it a 5. I'll give it a 5, and maybe I'll watch it again someday. At the home when I'm really old. But yeah, go ahead, rate this fucker.
Well, yeah, I had problems with that as well, or with the story as well. Like, Desi has this incredible hearing. So I would think he would have heard Sam get up from his seat, and because he's right next to him.
Yes.
Desi has the superpower where you can hear a squirrel fart in the woods. So I don't know. He didn't hear Sam get up from his chair. There's still one unanswered question. We never did get an answer that kind of confirmed or denied, but. Did they or didn't they? Did Patricia and Tomas do it? I know it's kind of juvenile for me to put it that way, but like I'm pretty sure they did.
Well, I don't think that Tomas had a long romantic evening in mind, if you know what I mean. I think it was more like a scene from a porno.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm being honest. Like, I don't know.
But overall, it wasn't a horrible episode. It wasn't, like you said, we have this preconceived idea that anything from season 12 is going to be total trash. It wasn't total trash, but it's not a good one either. I was going to give it a 4 out of 8. I think that it's kind of halfway there,
I think cheesy best describes it. There's stuff in this that is so, like, just the decorations in the club, the disco lights or whatever they put up, but they're not disco lights. They're just like crap that you put up from Spencer Gifts or something. But yeah, okay, all right.
But you know what the good news is?
We're going to season 1 next.
Absolutely, we're going to season 1. Yay, we made it! Right. Another round. Now we're back to the best season, or one of the best seasons.
All right, Steve. So the cats are prepping, and they haven't found the app. They haven't set up the... Okay, there we go. All right. Steve, whenever you're ready, go ahead and spin.
All right, let's spin it.
So, from season 1, we will be watching... Ooh. All right. I'm really not going to look at whatever the real story is, or what the DVD insert says the real story is, but it's called Paint Me a Murder.
I feel like I've seen this one. Paint Me
What's
a
it
Murder. It's... I feel like I've seen this one. I'm probably thinking of something else, though. Okay, so it is about a painting that is worth a lot of money, and it goes missing and ends up causing a murder. I don't know.
It sounds like one of those season 6 episodes. Actually, there's a painting, it goes missing and causes a murder. I think we've seen. I'm gonna be really creative here because I'm feeling creative at the moment. I'm gonna say it's set in Cabot Cove, and there's a person. He owns a painting business, and he's out painting someone's roof or something. He's up on the roof, or he's on the ladder painting along the side of the house, and the ladder falls, and he gets electrocuted. And it turns out that he may have seen all this shit from painting people's houses and looking in windows. And so they have to look at all his former clients and figure out what he may have seen spying on them from outside. I literally fucking just made up this plot from a Goosebumps book. But yeah.
Sounds like. So, I'm just looking at the cast in this. One of your favorite citrus-loving actors is in this.
Citrus-loving actors? Which one of the Golden Girls is in it? Oh no, Cesar Romero! Wait, can we just say what the thing's about? Because this is really driving me crazy now. I want to find out.
All right.
Cesar Romero and Broadway legend Robert Goulet co-star in this intriguing episode of a famous artist who is haunted by a murderer on his otherwise idyllic Mediterranean island.
Oh, so we get to travel in this one.
Steve, that sounds horrible. I can't wait to see it. No, it doesn't say anything about Jessica. It just says Cesar Romero and Broadway legend Robert Goulet co-star. Okay, co-stars. So that means... Because if it's Cesar Romero and Robert Goulet solving a murder, I think I really want to see that season 6 episode, wouldn't you? Don't you love Bob Goulet? Are you a big Bob Goulet fan? No? Okay. Everybody, I apologize for Steve's lack of enthusiasm for Sparkle Motion. But
is that better?
Yeah, that's convincing, Steve. Thank you. But join us next time when we talk about from season 1, Paint Me a Murder. And Steve, say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night, everybody. Thank you for listening to the Cabot Cove Confab. If you've enjoyed it, please leave us a favorable review on Apple Podcasts. Also, feel free to reach out to us on Twitter at Cabot Cove Confab or email us at cabotcoveconfab@gmail.com.